All right. So this is the second installment of how I got going and singing and things like that. So um, high school. So yeah, we would go to parties and stuff like that, and sing a little bit here and there. And graduated high school. Reeds actually came out to my graduation party because borrowed a drum set from a guy, Keith Riley. I went to school with him too. And he brought his drums out, and another guy played drums. Keith didn't play drums. He didn't even stay for the party, I don't think. But it was cool. They brought him over. And so a guy named Joe played drums, and Reach played guitar. And I sang a little bit, and we did War Pigs, pops up again. And we did Bad Company, Shooting Star. I think we did Seek and Destroy. We played like 3 songs at my graduation party. And that was cool. It was out in the yard, and, it was really cool. And so, meantime, I was still friends with Rob. And Rob at that time had started playing bass. Pardon me. So he's playing bass. And, I don't know, I think in 91 or something like that, he called me. Because I had invited him out to my graduation party to come play some bass. But he come out like later on. He didn't make it. But anyway, I think it was around 91. I graduated in 90. And now that's Tiny T. He's eating too fast. Tiny. Kind of like me. Eats a little too fast sometimes. Chokes him up. But anyway, Tiny, you okay? What are you doing, buddy? You alright? Okay. Alright, so 91. 91. Rob calls me up. He says, "Hey man, I'm in a cover band. Would you like to come out and sing? See if you want to come out and try out for the band." It was right down the street from my dad's place, like half a mile. I said, "There's a guy named Jim Lawson." So and they were a typical garage band. I had never really been around that much equipment before when I went down there. With all the drums and the amp set up and 2 guitars, and Rob was there with the bass. And so I went out there and tried out, and I guess they liked me because they wanted me to come back. And they were doing stuff like AC/DC, some Judas Priest, just some Jimi Hendrix, that kind of stuff, classic rock stuff. And stuff I never really heard before. I never really listened to Judas Priest, even though I was into metal, because even though I didn't just listen to Black Sabbath and with the Doors, I'm all listening to like Quiet Riot and Twisted Sister and a lot of different stuff, and still listening in the country. But so yeah, they were doing covers, and yeah, like I said, I guess they liked the way I sang, and they invited me back, and we jammed for a little while. It didn't last too long. We never played any shows. We just kind of played right in the garage for, I don't know, a few months, I guess maybe. I'm just trying to remember. Like I said, I'm getting old and I'm forgetting stuff. But so we jammed for a little while, and that fell apart. But the guy that was playing drums was Frank Polica, and me and Frank, we still, even though that band had disbanded and was done, me and Frank still hung out together, and we still were friends and everything like that. And so a lot of crazy stuff, man. I mean, we would go to bars. I wasn't even 21 at the time, but we would go to bars, and the rule was and Frank's older than me, so he could get in. That was no big deal, but if we went to a bar that we couldn't get in because I would get carded, we would just go somewhere else. So that was the rule. If we get carded here, we'd just go to a bar that where, you get carded. They're not going to card you, and we'll go in and drink some beer. But we always ended up down pretty much at the touchdown. They pretty much served me every time we went in there. In fact, I think they served me every time we went in there. But and we seen, me and Frank had a lot of good times together, man. We seen a lot of bands together, live bands. So a lot of music is the best, man. There's something about the live feel because you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I think that's the thrill of going to see a live band. But me and Frank had hung out for a while. I'll tell you a quick story. One time after the band was done, the cover band, I can't even remember what the hell we were called. Anyway, we were up at Frank's apartment in Kenton. We were drinking a little bit, had a little bit of weed, And Jim Lawson was there, and me and Frank were actually starting to talk about Well, let me tell you the story first. So we're kind of, we're there hanging out, the bongs going around, and Frank's, if you went into Frank's apartment, you had to go upstairs, right? And he went around to the right, so there was a little stairway there, and he went around to the right after you did the stairway, and there was like a bar. So Frank was at the bar, sitting behind the bar. I was in front of the bar, just kind of like leaning on it, And we were drinking McMaster's whiskey and some kind of beer. I was probably drinking Coors. I think Frank was a Budweiser guy at the time. And Jim Lawson was there with us. He was partying with us. So and then we got the stereo going, and I look over at Jim, and he's got the bong. He's hitting the bong, and he kind of was doing this, and I was thinking, oh, he's into the music, and I was like, yeah, it's cool, man, jam, nigga, jam, and he just kind of like leans up against the thing, and almost falls over top of the damn railing on the stairwell there, and he's like, and he comes around, and he slams the bong on the table, and he's like, man, I was blacking out, and you were just standing there looking at me. And I was like, dude, sorry. I thought you were jamming. You'll be careful over there. But that's just a quick story. But, so I'm pretty sure that it was that night that Frank had said to me, he said, man, and this was like in 92. So, Frank said, man, I've been jamming with this guy named Mike K. Hall. And, if you want to come over, man, why don't you come over, maybe we can start a band doing original stuff. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And just went over there with Frank over to Mike's house, and I was kind of in awe in Mike when I first met him, because like I said, he could play he knew like a lot of Black Sabbath, which was cool with me. I like that, but he knew like a lot of other stuff too, like Slayer, stuff that I was never into and I'm still not into today. But he knew a lot of stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And he knew a bass player, James Cole. And I think James was there too first time we got together, but it was cool. And then Frank knew a guy named Jerry Krause, and he kind of started hanging out with us. And Jerry played guitar, and I think Jerry was fairly new at playing guitar when we first got together. And we wrote like a song off like pretty much right after we met. The first song I ever wrote was Still in Hell, but I'm kind of jumping ahead, but that was the band that became Terminal Bliss. It was me, Frank, Mike, James, and Jerry, and that was late 92, I believe. So we wrote songs, man. We would just get up in Mike's bedroom and just the guitars and just write songs, man. And then once we had enough material, then we started looking to play shows. And that was in 93. We actually started playing the shows. And we used to play at a place called Mystic Dungeon. It was in Dover. And we played there a bunch of times, man. I mean, we played there a bunch of times. There's a lot of different people. And played a bunch of shows there. And we played all over, really. Played parties. That was always cool. But, so... And I don't know how many songs we wrote. Terminal Bliss was together till 96, early 96 was when we broke up. But I don't know how many songs we wrote. We wrote a lot of stuff, and we didn't really do any covers. We just did, here it comes again, Black Sabbath. We did some Black Sabbath, like Paranoid, and we did the song Black Sabbath when we would play out. But like I said, I don't know how many songs we actually wrote. But we wrote a bunch. We wrote a bunch of songs. And so James was with us for a long time. When in the beginning, he was there for a lot of the early stuff. And it kind of wasn't working out with James, and so we let him go. And then we brought another bass player. His name was Brandon Haddock. And Brandon came in. Brandon was a pretty good bass player. He was like into the 90s, early grunge kind of stuff going on. So he was like into that, but he brought a good vibe to the band. The way he played was pretty straightforward, and he had a good sound on his bass. You know, I'm not saying that James didn't. It just didn't. It really wasn't meshing too good with James anymore, and we let him go and brought in Brandon. And Brandon played with us for a while, and Brandon was there for like the writings of some really important songs for us, like "Blown" and "Terminal Bliss" and those originals, and put his ideas, and he had ideas too. You know, Mike was the main song writer as far as the music goes, and I took care of all the vocals, and you know, every once in a while somebody would come up with a line or something, I would use it. You know, so I'm not taking full credit for every single song that we did. I wrote all the lyrics because I didn't write all the lyrics. But I wrote 98, 99% of all the vocals. And Brandon was with us for a while, and then something happened. Brandon couldn't do it anymore, didn't want to do it. I think I don't remember us letting him go, like saying he's fired or anything. I don't remember that ever happened. I just think something had come up and he didn't want to do it anymore. And we had some shows coming up, and we brought James back into the band. And James, that was cool for James to do that because he didn't have to do that. You know, James is a cool guy. I still talk to him today. And James is a cool guy, and he came in and we had some shows lined up, and he come in and played with us. Come on, Fritz. What are you doing on the table anyway? Come on, get out of there. You're blocking the shot. So, but that was cool, James, to come in and cover on the bass for us like that. And at this time, Greg Dibben was a friend of Mike's, and he was kind of hanging around with the band. He played a little guitar and stuff. And something that happened with James or whatever, and it kind of wasn't working out again. It wasn't working out again. And Greg was there, and Greg was fooling around. He was out at practice all the time, you know, hanging out with us. And like I said, he played guitar, so just they come up conversation one time. He said, "Hey man, would you like to play bass for us?" And he said, "Yeah." So he went and bought a bass from Frank's buddy, Gene. Can't remember. Had a bass for sale. Really nice bass. I forget what kind it was. It was a really cool bass. And so Greg bought the bass, and he started playing bass for the band. And I don't know if we played any shows with Greg before we went to the studio the first time to do our first demo. I don't think he played any shows with us. I think he was brought in, and then we kind of set up to get up to the studio. The first demo we did was up in Hanover, PA, and we did it in February of '94. So we went up and did a 5-song demo, and you know, we got it back, and you know, we sold a few, gave some out. You know, we had gear and stuff like that. You know, we had beer cozies and, you know, different kind of gear. And so we played some shows, and then we did another demo in the fall of the same year, and that was a 3-song demo. And the first demo it took it was like a 14-hour deal, so we had to go to PA. We stayed up there for like a whole entire weekend. And the way that works is that you play live, and then you know, if there's any mistakes, the next day you take care of any mistakes, or if there's like a double vocal, which I don't think there was any double vocals on that, but we did backing vocals, and Mike did his leads, you know. So basically, the first day was just putting everything down, getting the sound, the volume, the right kind of volumes and stuff like that, and it was a really nice studio that we went in. It was called Soundworks. And I really wish they would get back into it again, because knowing you kind of learn a little bit more as you get more under your belt of what you're supposed to do in a studio. That you know, because it was a really nice studio. There was more equipment there than we utilized. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're running out of time on this one, and so I will see you on the next installment. Bye, French.